Everyone together. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare
Hello, Academy of Vedic Sciences. Welcome you all to the Essence of Gita. Today we are on day 16. Thank you all for joining us. It's a wonderful journey with all of you. Yesterday we have completed 18th chapter of Bhagavad-Gita. So, we will be having a lot of questions. And after hearing and reading Bhagavad-Gita, I hope there are still more questions you have. So today we are excited to bring you the most awaited part of the essence of Gita, which is open question and answer session. So to answer all our queries, we have with us Harinam, Mohandas, Nankishore, Jagjeevan Jagannath Prabhu. We welcome all. So just before we go through the session, just quick announcement. As usual, you can post your questions on the chat box, and also we have opened up WhatsApp and Telegram groups so that you can post your questions there. And also if you switch on your video, we can spotlight you. Okay. So then again, tomorrow we will be having overview of Shimad Bhagavatam. Then on Thursday, again the 18th chapter summary. Then on Friday, which is Gita Jayanti day, we will have complete recitation of 700 verses of Bhagavad Gita along with the Havan. So without wasting much time, I welcome our panelists, Harinam Anand, Mohan, and Nankishore and Jaganji. Over to you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Jai Govind Prabhu. So I think as we promised yesterday, we will take some of the questions which were uploaded to the chat. Which were posted to the chat yesterday while the class was going on. So first, at least 15 minutes we want to dedicate to some of the questions that was raised there, and definitely we have Harinam Anand Prabhu who gave the class to answer some of the questions. And I would request maybe the first question to Harinam Anand Prabhu, which is the question from Pratishthik Chauhan Prabhu, quite an important question. Yesterday he raised while you were discussing the renunciation chapter. He is asking, even if the soldier is fighting, even if the soldier is fighting for a wrong cause under the instruction of his government, still, is it right that he should not leave the fight? Yeah, so basically the soldier is thinking that the cause is wrong, but because he's a soldier, is following his government's orders, should he still go ahead and fight, or should he give up that fight?
Yeah, actually, this is something which, in a practical sense, it's very genuine question, because especially when you're serving the nation, you are bound to support your government, and even though the government might be right or wrong, actually each other's parties, both the countries, they think that they are right, but as Krishna mentions, that what matters is that one should perform their duty, which is destined by their nature. So one who does that, eventually, in due course of time, they are in the right path, and eventually they go to the higher planet. So even in the Mahabharat war, although Duryodhan and his whole team, Kaurava armies, were in the wrong side, but still, eventually they all went to the higher planets to enjoy the benefits of their sacrifice that they did in the war.
Correct. Good. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Then I think one more question, maybe Harinam Anand Prabhu, you can take, because it's related to yesterday's class itself.
Sure.
Manisha Mataji wanted to know if you could elaborate with some example on renunciation, penance, and austerity, how these are correlated, and how they should or should not be performed. So I think the second part you already answered in detail with the modes, but I think the first part was a practical example on renunciation, penance, and austerity, so that they could understand the difference.
Yeah, so
renunciation, as Krishna mentions in the Bhagavad-Gita, renunciation means renouncing the fruits of the activity that we do. So basically, in the practical sense, one must be conscious that whatever action we perform, we are doing it as a duty, as our responsibility, and whatever result or fruits that come out of that work or action, we always depend on the Lord, and we offer it to the Lord. So that is that is it about renunciation. With regards to penances is mainly when we do any kind of activity where we not kind of torture ourselves, but kind of restrain our desires to do any sense gratification. Yeah, so that is penances. And austerities is when we do some activities in terms of abstaining, not only abstaining from sense gratification, but also austerities can be to the extent of doing something which we do not like, but as a matter of duty we still do it. So these are the three things that we can in practical sense do it in Krishna consciousness. And again, all these three aspects are not to make our life miserable. It is in fact to make our life purified, and it helps us to progress further in our spiritual journeys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the correlation
So
between them actually.
I'll just add that human life is meant for um to actually purify, and if we don't ourselves voluntarily go through this purification process, then the modes of nature will force us to go through this purification process, and that's how people suffer in this world.
Fantastic. So one more aspect, I think, which probably one more practical question which we can probably look at again from Anisha Mataji. She's saying very practical question, and maybe I would direct this to Nandkishore Prabhu here. She is asking that Arjuna had Krishna's direction in the battlefield, but we do not have direction for such actions. We do also have VG as our life manual, but real-time guidance is not available at each and every point. So what should we do?
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Mohanji. So this question very nicely our founder Acharya answers. Srila Prabhupada ji says that therefore we need a spiritual master, because Krishna is not directly speaking to us, as Mataji has mentioned, and we lack direct guidance from Krishna. Therefore we need the transparent via medium between ourselves and Krishna. That is the spiritual master, and also we practice this divine science of bhakti yoga in the association of devotees. So we have one guidance from our spiritual master, and we have guidance from like-minded devotees who are also practicing this process. So therefore we guard ourselves from misinterpreting or doing things wrong by directly reading and trying to understand it from our limited perspective. We approach a spiritual master, and then also we inquire from like-minded devotees who are practicing this process. So in that way we receive the required guidance. Yeah, that would be my like what our acharya's answer for this question.
Correct. I think the other aspect also is just to add on to Nandkishore Prabhu, one point that I remember from some of the lectures that I have heard is, first of all, we should have a sincere desire that I want to get the right guidance from Krishna. Yeah. So when you start to sincerely desire this particular aspect, then Krishna is actually sitting in our heart. He's the Chaitya Guru. He's our original Guru. He, from within the heart, he will make arrangements in such a way that you will come into contact with like-minded people, that what Nandakishore Prabhu was talking of, and that like-minded people will then further guide you towards meeting you with the right set of people, and maybe one of them could be your guru. Again, it's not that we choose a guru. Yeah, it's the guru who comes in automatically and he chooses us. Yeah? It's a fallacy to think that I am choosing a guru. That is not the right understanding. Just similarly, an example is given that when a fruit is become ripe or is the most sweetest in the tree, the bird, actually the parrot, comes in and takes a bite at that particular fruit only. It doesn't take it to any other. Why does he do that? Because that fruit is ready. Same thing for us. Once when we are ready, our sincerest of sincere desires have matured and fructified, that is when the guru will come into our life, and automatically you will see that you will get guided by exactly the same things what Lord Krishna guided Arjuna. That's what the understanding is. Okay, I think couple of other ones yesterday's that came up which were also quite interesting, and maybe I will ask Harinam Anand Prabhu to take this one, which is, could you please explain how someone who is in a remote part of the world, who is not even aware of Sri Krishna, how can he benefit from Bhagavad Gita? Also, how the people who are of different faiths can understand Bhagavad Gita.
So, actually, it is by the mercy of Krishna that we get a chance to meet a devotee. And also, if we develop a sincere desire either in previous life or in this life, then Krishna arranges us to meet a devotee, and that's how our spiritual journey begins. So the very fact that some people might be staying very far or in remote corners of the world or in countries which are not favorable to this philosophy, it can be correlated that probably they might have never expressed the desire or never prayed for to progress in Krishna, because Krishna says Ichcha Dvesha. Yeah, it is because of desire and envy, because of which people do not take up Krishna consciousness. So they are any which ways kept aloof because of their karma. And second question is that how do people in general take up Krishna consciousness? Yes, Mohan Prabhu, what was the second part? Can
Yeah,
you
I
repeat?
think how do people of other faith get benefited from Bhagavad Gita?
Yeah, actually, we have to understand that the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is universal. It is applicable to everyone. Whatever we studied in the last 15, 16 days, 18 chapters that we studied, if you notice everything that is mentioned, it is very much practical. The very first thing, the basic foundation of Sanatan Dharma is to understand that we are not this body, we are the spirit soul. And based on that, the further knowledge is shared by the Lord. Yeah, in terms of jnana, in terms of understanding the miseries of life also, birth, old age, disease, death. It is not meant only for Hindus or only for a particular faith, it is for everyone. So when we present this philosophy in general to even people who are following other faith, other religions, they, if they are genuine in their inquiry, they very much appreciate this philosophy. And I have personally experienced that, especially because I'm dealing with lot of non-Indians who have accepted this philosophy to be so sublime and applicable to everyone. Yeah,
Very nice.
thank you.
Thank you. So a couple of questions, simple ones, which I will probably directly take it myself. And there is one request from Rajbali Premdesh Prabhu. He's saying, can you please arrange explanation in Hindi also so that we can understand better? Yes, Rajbali Prabhu, हम definitely कोशिश करेंगे हिंदी में भी बताने की. अलग कोर्स करेंगे. ये वाला कोर्स अब शुद्ध इंग्लिश में ही था. हाँ, तो ये वाला इंग्लिश के लिए हमारे लिए हम दूसरे कोर्सेज भी डिजाइन कर रहे हैं जहाँ पे हम हिंदी में उस कोर्स को कंडक्ट करेंगे. तो डेफिनेटली वो आ रहा है. डेफिनेटली लिंक में रहिए, हमारे साथ जुड़े रहिए इसमें.
थैंक यू गुरु.
And okay, or this second question was around the psychometric test. I think we will upload that. But if you are in a hurry, there is actually a site called vedicpersonality.org, and you can just go to that site, given some details of yourself, and you'll get this particular Vedic personality index also. Yeah, so that one is there for that. So I think those were some of the questions from yesterday's class. Maybe there are quite a few questions which are coming in here, and I would so would Jagan Prabhu be taking on these questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I can take some of them, Prabhu, the ones which I know. Okay.
Yes.
So one of the first questions is psychometric, that has been answered. One second, Prabhu. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah. What's the first question? Yeah, relationship between Krishna, Rama, and Vishnu. I think this is one of the questions. This is very often asked questions. Why we get these questions is also primarily because when we get in touch with a study, a systematic study of Bhagavad Gita in references to Bhagavatam, this question comes more often. Primarily because our most of our knowledge about our scriptures, at least for those people who are age 30 or 40 plus, is through movies, or for some people it is Amar Chitra Katha. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, also in reference to what Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita 9th chapter, primarily the 9th chapter, that there are different types of incarnation. It's not only one incarnation. The first level is Purushavasaras, and then you have Gunavataras and Leela Avataras. Leela Avataras are those people who are the personalities who perform the Leelas, like Rama, Nrsimha, and Guna Avataras are the Avataras which are which are in charge of mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. I think in Mohan Prabhu's class it was mentioned about who is in charge of whom. That is the Guna Avataras. And above them is the Purusha Avataras, and above the Purusha Avataras is the actual source of Avataras, that is Krishna. So Krishna is the primeval, original Lord himself, unborn, and from him Purusha Avataras come for the sake of the creation. So there is a primary creation. Anything that is above the Purusha Avataras is called primary creation, and anything that is coming down is called secondary creation. And all the avatars come from the Purusha Avataras. One of the Purusha Avataras of the Vishnu. There are three types of Vishnus, right? So even when Krishna wants to come to this material world, he follows the protocol, because it is one of the Purusha Avataras of Vishnu. All these incarnations come, so Krishna also comes. So when we say that is Krishna an avatar of Vishnu, yes, if you are considering, if our scope of context is this secondary creation, yes, he did, that does come into that may. But is he dependent on Vishnu to come as avatara? No, because he's the avatari. In Srimad Bhagavatam, so many avatars are given, and it's also said that there are innumerable number of avatars. All that, after all describing the all avatars, etecha kalapumsham Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indradi Vyakalam Lokam Rudayanti Yuga Yuge. So Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. So he is the source of all incarnation. So this could be very baffling and bewildering for the first time when we hear, because we are so much ingrained into thinking that everything comes from Vishnu. It is correct, partially correct, because secondary creation. And also another confusion comes to most of the people who have read the Hindu literature in the younger days, is a trinity, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva as one and equal. That's also, unfortunately, if you take from a Srimad Bhagavatam as a Purana and a Bhagavad Gita as a reference, that is not right. But somehow that concept came into being, and it's very difficult for us to unlearn it. So kindly read Srimad Bhagavatam, first and second cantos. Most of our doubts will get clarified. Hare Krishna.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. That was very good. So one more question, maybe this could be to Nandakishore Prabhu. Is similar in relation to this. Nandakishore Prabhu, can you help Krishna Niranjan to answer this question, which is, who is Shiva in relation to the Devas, Krishna, and us? So Lord Shiva's position in this world, and how he is in relation to Krishna, and how he is in relation to us.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mohanji. So what we hear from the scriptures in this regard is that Shiva, there are different tattvas. There is Vishnu tattva, we are jivas, we come under Jiv tattva. And then there is Shiva tattva, which is not a so easy tattva to understand. Shiva tattva and Guru tattva are not very easy to understand, as Acharya says. So from the Brahma Samhita, we get this information that there is a verse that as milk is converted into yogurt, so yogurt is nothing but a transformation of milk. At the same time, yogurt is not milk, and it cannot be made back to milk. So similarly, this is the position of Lord Shiva in connection with Lord Krishna. Further, Srimad Bhagavatam also describes Lord Shiva as the topmost devotee of Lord Krishna, Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. Further, it is also mentioned in scriptures that we struggle as jivas, we struggle with false ego, and Shiva is the controller of this element, is given to him of false ego. That's why many a times it's also seen that whenever devotees come across any Shiva temple, they go there and offer their obeisances and pray to Lord Shiva to be able to give up this false ego, as he's the controller, and also he's in charge of destruction, like Jaganji was saying. The three figures who are said, Brahmaji, Shivaji, and Vishnuji. So Brahma and Vishnu and Shiva, from them Shiva is in charge of destruction. Also, one more feature of Lord Shiva is that when we jivas are we are impregnated into this material world. So it is Lord Vishnu who doesn't come in touch with the material energy, but it is through Lord Shiva. That's why even the Shiva Ling is worshipped. And so this is a few things heard in relation with Lord Shiva. To summarize it, Lord Shiva is not a jiva, he's not a demigod also. He is a separate tattva by himself. He is Krishna, at the same time he is different from Krishna. Just like yogurt is a milk transformation, at the same time it is not milk as well, and you cannot make it back milk. And Shiva is also described as the topmost devotee in scriptures of Lord Krishna. He is Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. And Shiva is in charge of destruction, as well as the element of false ego, from which every practitioner of Bhakti Yoga tries to keep himself away from, which is the false ego. So this is Shiva's relationship with Krishna and with other demigods. Like it is also said in scriptures that a living entity can take the body of Brahma if he lives 100 lifetimes purely in the mode of goodness. He can be awarded the body of Brahma, but a jiva cannot become Shiva. Shiva is Shiva. So this is Shiva Tattva. Jivas can get demigod body, but Shiva does not come in the demigod category. And of course, there is another Sada Shiva in the spiritual world, which is another subject matter. But if we are looking at Lord Shiva deity, which commonly referred to in the material world, this is what, in summary, has been mentioned in the scriptures. Thank you.
Nandkishore, would you like to
Yeah.
recite the shloka for the benefit of the audience? It's Brahma Samhita. It's
Yeah,
coming on the screen.
Yeah, please. Thank you, bro. Yeah, Shiram yata dadi vikara vishesha yogat sanjayate nahi tata pritagasti hetoho yashambhutam api tata samupaiti karya govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Translation is as followed. Just as milk is transformed into curd by the action of acids, but yet the effect curd is neither same as nor different from its cause, viz. Milk, so I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, of whom the state of Shambhu, Lord Sadashiv, is transformation for the performance of the work of creation and destruction. Thank you very much, Jaganji. Hare Krishna.
Okay, so I think next question I am focusing towards Harinam Prabhu, which is, if Krishna has come into the earth for Dharma Sthapana, like he says, Dharma Samsthapanartaya, how could he leave Radharani, Gopi, and his parents lamenting? People often ask this to me, how can this be an act of Dharma?
Well, actually, Krishna definitely came to establish Dharma, and whatever action he performed is not ordinary action. It is his pastimes, it is his divine Leela. And with regards to the separation that he did with Radharani and the Gopis and Yashodamai and all the Brijvasis was primarily to increase their love towards Krishna. Actually speaking, love in separation is always in its purest or peak form. So Krishna actually gave them the opportunity to love him all the more. And not only that, even Krishna himself, even though he was sleeping in Dwarka, he would always remember the Brijvasis in his heart. So this was just one of his pastimes, but it should not be taken in a mundane way like how it is here in our world, current day and age. It is a pastime that Krishna exhibited to show his love towards his devotees, so that the devotees would also express their love in their purest and peakest form.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
and
Thank you
another
so
thing
much.
I wanted to, Prabhuji, I wanted to clarify one thing, and also this is also
Sure.
interesting as we read Bhagavad Gita and also Srimad Bhagavatam, these realizations come. Uh, when we say that Krishna came to the world, material world, that doesn't mean that there is a Krishna there and he had to come here and the position of Krishna is vacant in Goloka Dham or Krishna's abode. Krishna is eternally executing his pastimes in Golok Dham. He's never separated from Radha and Krishna, the gopis and cowherd boys. That Leela is also going on, but he can expand himself into many forms without being undivided and undisturbed. So for performing a such Leela, he comes as Krishna himself. But that doesn't mean when Krishna is coming, Golok Dham is closed. It doesn't that understanding has to be there. He can do anything that he wants. So these Leelas are also like that. Eternally Krishna enjoys in along with the dearmost devotees always. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So the next question is directly a question of Arjuna, which is asked by Sombatla Achyuta Prabhuji. He's asking how to develop and practice unaltered love towards Krishna in all times and in every situation. Yeah, actually, it's exactly the question which Arjuna asks in the 10th chapter. Yeah, Arjuna asks Krishna, how can I always think of you every time? Yeah, and why does he want to think of Krishna always? Because he want to follow the 9th chapter instruction, man mana bhava mad bhakto, that every time you have to think of me. So I think the answer for you is directly available in the 10th chapter. I think meditate on the 10th chapter, and you will automatically realize the answer yourself. Yeah, and how the Lord, how you can always think of the Lord in every way, in everywhere. Like the example I keep giving, I give the example last time also, or during the class, that when there is a handkerchief which is left by the heroine in our Hindi movies, the hero, as soon as he sees the handkerchief, he remembers his heroine. Yeah, so she's not there, but just through the handkerchief, he's able to remember. Yeah, so because he's so much in love with that particular girl or person or whatever. Yeah. Now, same thing we also should start practicing. That wherever we see the adbhut creations and activities and abilities of men, we should be able to see Lord Krishna's hand there. And because of that particular process, we kind of keep getting Krishna into our life again. Yeah. So that's how practically we can actually start thinking of Krishna and trying to build up our relationship with Krishna at every moment, 24/7. So that's the understanding there. So meditate on the 10th chapter. I think you will definitely get your answer there also. Next one, I think, is probably for Jagan Prabhu.
Mohan, sorry, I just wanted
Yes,
to add to your thing because it's a very important question. Many people have many things, but I personally want to share my own experience on how do I try to remember Krishna, because I'm not at there in a very beginning stage of even practicing devotional life. But one shloka which always has been an inspiration for me, where Krishna, of course, 10th chapter is a very good source, as you said, but this shloka is a simple shloka, and this will help us to remember Krishna everywhere. Yomam pasyati sarvatra sarvam cha mayi pasyati tasyaham na pranasyami sacha me na pranasyati. For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor he is ever lost to me. So this is one of the very important shlokas, and almost at the end of second half of this 6th chapter comes, the one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I'm never lost. So if you want to remember Krishna, we have to follow this. It's easy to say for practicing devotees like us, are aspiring devotees like us, but this can be a guideline. And Srila
Yeah.
Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON, also has told a golden rule of bhakti. Once we internalize this shloka, then we can go to the next step of knowing one of the great instructions of Lord Shiva to Parvati, which founder Acharya of ISKCON has told as a golden rule of bhakti. Smartavya satatam Vishnor vismartavya na jatachit sarve vidhi nishedasyor yetayor yeva kinkaraha. Always remember Krishna and
Remember
never try
Krishna.
to forget Krishna. And all the other rules and regulations can be subservient to this important principle. So in that way, we can try to remember Krishna. And we are all in the same journey. We have to try hard. Practice. Will somewhere, some down, hum honge kamyab. We can also be successful. We hope
Yeah.
to get there. Yeah, Hare
And I
Krishna.
think we should have full faith that Krishna will help us here. Yeah, because Krishna says, if you take one step towards me, I take 10 steps towards you. So definitely Krishna will also help you here. Okay, so next question is quite interesting here. And maybe Jagan Prabhu can take this also here. Is the version of Gita, what was told to Sun God, different from what has been told to Arjuna? If so, is there any fresh version which the Lord Krishna is going to preach in the due course of time?
Hare Krishna. Honestly, I do not know the answer to this question as it is. Whether version is same or not, I may not be able to corroborate. But the principles, the core principles enunciated would have been definitely be the same. The version depends on the situation, time, place, and context. But the concept and the philosophy is absolutely same. Krishna is the supreme personality of the Godhead. In order to understand Krishna, we have to surrender to Him. Those kind of principles are always there. The karma theory will be there. Bhakti yoga theory will be there. Manmana bhavat bhakto, those shlokas will be there. Yat karoshi yadashnasi yat juhoshi dadasi. Whatever you do, whatever you act, you offer it to me. Those principles are same. But exactly, is it the same? Honestly, I'm sorry, I do not know. Hare Krishna. Nandkishore
I
Prabhu,
think
someone
we
want to
don't
take
have. Yeah, we probably don't have the source of the book where Lord Krishna talks to Sun God. Maybe if that is there, we could do a comparison. But yeah, maybe Nandkishore Prabhu has a different perspective to it.
Hare Krishna, thank you, Jaganji. What I have heard in this regard is like, as you said, Jaganji, that whether what he spoke, as in like what exactly he spoke, may not be the same, but the message is definitely going to be the same. And is there a new version of Bhagavad Gita coming? So one thing we need to know that Bhagavad Gita is not like something like an English TV serial where you have version 1 and version 2, and which are totally two different things going on. Bhagavad Gita is eternal. It is ever new, so it never gets old. And whenever Krishna is going to speak it, it's like being eternally spoken already now. In some planet somewhere, Lord Krishna is at this very moment also speaking the Bhagavad Gita. And whether he speaks it in a different manner in terms of the verses, in terms of the exact, like in terms of the verses which he says, but we can be rest assured that the message is eternally true, that we need to surrender unto him, and that wouldn't ever change.
Thank you. And Nandakishore Prabhu, maybe we can continue with the next question itself, that how was it possible for Lord Krishna to deliver the whole Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna in 45 minutes? Gita is so vast and full of material and spiritual knowledge and words.
Yeah, so the very fact that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead makes everything possible. So because he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and he can deliver it, why even 45 minutes, even lesser than that, you see? So because he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he can do anything and everything. One feature we need to understand, which our founder Acharya always said, Srila Prabhupada, that he has inconceivable energies, achintya shakti. So inconceivable energies means he can do anything which we cannot comprehend from our mundane thinking at this moment. So maybe for us it is difficult to speak it in 45 minutes or even understand it in one lifetime. But because Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it is certainly possible for him to speak it in 45 minutes and even lesser than 45 minutes. And that is one attribute or one feature of the definition of God, that he has six opulences, and one of this is complete knowledge. Therefore, this is one of the opulence that the Lord has in full. So the very fact that the Lord has knowledge in full along with the other five opulences, there is no difficulty at all for him to speak the whole Bhagavad Gita in 45 minutes. This is what
Yeah.
I would.
Also, I
Fantastic.
would like to add on to Nandkishore Prabhu. He beautifully described and gave the answer. We have to understand that uh, the Bhagavad Gita knowledge which Krishna spoke to Arjuna was not with purports, it was only verses, and it was a conversation. So 45 minutes, 40 minutes is a good enough time to give 700 slokas of fluent Sanskrit language which they were speaking in. So it is very much practically possible, and that's how Krishna spoke the whole knowledge, and Sanjaya is giving this knowledge back to Dhritarashtra eventually. So a few more verses goes in that also.
Yeah. Fantastic. So maybe next question for you, Harinam Prabhu, which is, as we all know, India is highly rich in terms of spirituality, yet we have very high suffering due to poor people around us. Does it indicate that we Indians have bad karma than our European counterparts?
Hare Krishna. Actually speaking, it is not that if someone is poor, it is because of his bad karma, or if someone is rich, it is because of his good karma. Kunti Maharani in Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a beautiful prayers which Kunti Maharani prays. Janma Aishwarya Shruta Shibir Edamana Mata Puman Naiva Arhati Avidhatum Mai Kim Akinchana Gocharam. Janma, high birth, Aishwarya, lot of wealth. Shruta, that means the people who are very, very learned. And Shribhi, very, very beautiful. These four are impediments for someone to progress in spiritual life. Because if these four things are there, generally the tendency is not to surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who comes in the form of a gochara, who comes in the form of a cowherd boy. Yeah, so actually now that if you read that verse, then we will understand that how what is the real good karma and what is bad karma. Yeah, so one should not determine that since people in India are little poor, they might have had bad karma. In fact, India is a place where every moment you get a chance to remember the Lord. So in fact, it's a very, very auspicious country, auspicious land, and by destiny, whoever is born there, and of course, they may have some karma with regards to wealth and other amenities, which they have to go through. Yeah.
Yeah, Prabhu, I also want to add one thing. We also in the beginning, as a part of answers of questions, we said Bhagavad Gita is universal. To box karma theory to a nation may not be appropriate, because the nations and the names or the lines that mankind has drawn to protect themselves or to have some sense of connection. But in the world of God, there is no India, there is no America, there is only one material world, one part of the material world. So these boxes or lines are drawn by us, that the nationalism, this nation, that nation, this religion, that religion, is also isms. There's so many isms with which we get attached to knowing, thinking that we are this body. So karma theory is universal, and everywhere, everybody, whether rich or poor, everybody is suffering. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. Birth, death, old age, disease, everywhere it is there. And thankfully or unthankfully, COVID has taught the same lesson, that everything is same, everybody has the same thing. And again, after getting through the understanding of Bhagavad Gita, we should try to see this in a different perspective, like Harinam has said. Good karma or bad karma is actually can be decided by one fact: are we able to remember Lord at any point in time? Are we going towards Lord? Are we seeking the association of devotee? That is our good karma. If it is not, it is definitely bad karma. Despite whatever opulences we may have, whatever comforts we may have, it is definitely not going to lead us where we have to go back. Religion means it comes from a word, a European designated word, relegate, going back.
Relegate.
Any active that we do that will take us back to Godhead, that is good karma. Any activity that will keep us here is bad karma. I mean, in a very broad sense. So, but from our angle, we think that if he is poor, he's got a bad karma. It may not be 100% right. It may appear so, because our view is from a material angle. But if you decrease that material covering in our mind and intellect, slowly these things will reveal. So we again humbly request you to go through the chapters of 3rd chapter, 5th chapter, 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So you'll try to introspect these questions much more deeper. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So I think to all the panelists, I think we maybe need to keep our answers a bit short. Yeah, because I think there are quite a few questions down which we may have to take. So we don't want to disappoint some of the people who are asking these questions, some very, very fantastic questions. So the next one, Hare Krishna, what is the difference between sacrifice and penance practically? So I think very quickly we've seen this in the chapter called in the 17th chapter, where we saw that penance was people doing torture, kind of a torture to their body. Yeah, it may not be torture; it may appear to be torture. They might be doing it from a very sacrificial, from a perspective of I'm trying to please somebody or please the Lord. So that is penance. Sacrifice is a very broad term. Even this penance itself could be a sacrifice. Sacrifice could also mean what activity we are doing now. We could have all gone and watched the new movie which was released today, but we are sitting here discussing Bhagavad Gita. So this is a sacrifice also. We have sacrificed our time or our sense enjoyment to discuss something of higher purpose here. So sacrifice is something that you do for some activity which you kind of give up to gain something. Yeah, gain something spiritual always. Yeah, that is what is in practical the difference between sacrifice and penance. Sacrifice may or may not involve any kind of torture there. Yeah, that's the short and sweet understanding. The other one, and I think I'll ask Jagan Prabhu to take this one, is when Lord Krishna reveals Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna in the war field, how the other side of the war field, like Kauravas, patiently restrained themselves without revolting, starting the war. Has it happened before the schedule of the war? Or the Kauravas front also respected Krishna's discourse and patiently waited till the completion of Bhagavad Gita? Kindly explain.
I may not be able to know the answer completely, but first thing is it is a Dharma Yuddha. Even though the war is fought, there are certain rules and regulations that are being followed, that has to be followed. So that is point number one. That is from a material angle. Spiritual angle, if you see that Krishna obviously had cast a spell of his mystic power when he confronted Arjuna to reveal Bhagavad Gita. That's why even though he was speaking Bhagavad Gita, there were many people, but not all could even understand or know what is being happening. So whatever little I know is that there was a mystic spell that was created by Krishna to exclusively deliver the message to Arjuna. So for other people, they could have felt like it's like a moment that could have passed before Krishna has delivered. Nand Kishore, if you want to elaborate that.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Jaganji. Yeah, on the same lines only, Jaganji, that Krishna through his potency would have others covered, they wouldn't come to know. And at the same time, he would have kept all the Kshatriya rules and regulations of fight still in place, because people being covered wouldn't have come to know. And I would also like to say a small thing on this, that you know, more importantly is what is the message of the Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, we can have these questions, we can have these answers, but if we miss the point of what is the message, then somewhere we don't get the true benefit. Yeah, it's a good question. Like, like, sorry, don't take me wrong, but what I'm trying to say is we need to focus more on the substance. And yeah, Krishna naturally would have kept intact the rules of fighting, and yet spoken, like we often hear that Krishna goes from one place of Vrindavan Dham to another place quickly. How does he do it? Because Vrindavan Dham is like a lotus flower, and it just shrinks and opens, so he can cross over. So similarly, there are many different ways in which Lord Krishna could have done this through his mystical potency as is Yogeshwara. But just to add, our founder Acharya would often say that along with such questions which are valid, we should also focus on the substance. Thank you.
Just to add on to that, of course, out of curiosity, people may ask such question, and but just to share a little bit further on that, what actually exactly happened is, as soon as Krishna shared the Bhagavad Gita, Yudhishthir Maharaj also, he got down from his chariot, and then he proceeded towards the elders. He took their blessings. He took blessings from Bhishma, Dronacharya, and others, and then they began the war. So, as Jagan Prabhu mentioned, it was the Dharma Yuddha. Everyone followed the code and conduct of the war.
Correct. In fact, the Mahabharata it describes that in the evening they would stop when the sunset was done. They would stop the war, and they would then enjoy revelries between. They would have parties in the evening, kinds. Yeah, so that is. It's not that they were just in the night fighting and ready to kill each other at every point. That's how it began. So obviously, in the early days, there was a quite high amount of dharma still being followed. Of course, it deteriorated by the end of the war, wherein a lot of bad practices started coming in. That's a separate angle altogether. Okay, so I think going ahead, next question maybe for Harinam Prabhu. If Gita is applicable for all humanity, then wouldn't justifying anything from a nation's point of view a myopic view? E.g., killing an enemy soldier is justified from a nation's point of view, but wrong from humanity's point of view. So what is right then?
See, actually, every country will have their own justification as to why they are killing each other and what is the purpose and motive behind it. So, when it comes to humanity point of view or inhuman point of view, sometimes as we being an outsider, we cannot judge what is right or wrong at the actual battlefield and what is going on. Many times, not only in the war, many times the soldiers, they die just while practicing. So many fighter planes, they just crash just by practicing. They are doing their general practice of war. So we are no one to judge as to whether it is human or not unhuman. This is their responsibility, roles and responsibility, and because they have taken up that kind of job or duty, they are supposed to do that.
Harinam, I think I want to. Harinam, sorry, Mohan Prabhu. Harinam, I wanted to. Sorry, Harinam, I think your example of a soldier triggered a lot of thoughts in a lot of people. It's very interesting. I think several questions are coming on the same point. I just wanted to clarify humbly with whatever little I understand. What Harinam yesterday gave was a soldier who goes to a war and very successfully subdues a lot of enemy, gets a reward, and he comes home and he does something to his neighbor, he gets punished. It's only an example. Don't think that, please do not consider that Harinam is basing his philosophy on that. He's trying to elaborate a point. What is that point? The point is we may do this similar activity, but depending upon the context and the conscious, the reward is given. Here I'm shooting a neighbor, same activity, same gun. Intention is to kill somebody. Again, I take a gun and I shoot my enemy in so-called war, I get a different reward. What he's telling is, same activity, the consciousness matters. Like same way we may eat food for our sense gratification, we get one kind of a reaction to that. We cook food in the consciousness to offer it to the Lord because he's the proprietor, and then take it, same food, same cooking, same ingredients, but we get it different. So Harinam Anand Prabhu's example is to show activity is same, person is same. Probably even why he has to come to the enemy home, he can kill his own colleagues at the war front itself, right? Then he'll get a different punishment, much cruel punishment. Same place, same conscious, same place, same ingredient, same everything, but the results are different. So that's why if we offer our activities to Krishna, that will get a reward. And if we do the activities without offering to the Krishna, the reaction would be different. This is what he was trying to elaborate with a very nice, simple example. So don't go by the example, but get the gist in the example. Hare Krishna.
Correct.
Thank
And
you,
exactly, that exactly is the philosophy of the entire Krishna consciousness movement, that every activity that we do it with the intention of pleasing the Lord. The intention is there. That's all. Same activity you are doing. That's all. It's the same activity. The activity is not different at all as to what you have done without being in Krishna consciousness. But being in Krishna consciousness, the same activity liberates you. That karma bandhana doesn't come in. That is the important principle that we want to propagate here. That is the practical aspect of Krishna consciousness for explained to us by Srila Prabhupada here. So that comes to our very nice question, very logical, practical again. Anything eaten without offering to Krishna is sin. We eat outside food. How to offer to Krishna? So I think many times we try to find shortcuts to this particular aspects. Yeah, unfortunately, many times shortcuts are not always the right path. Yeah, and we might think that okay, somebody else has cooked it and we will bring it home and we'll offer it. Yeah, that may not be a very great practice. Yeah, but at least even if you are thinking of this, it's a good practice to start off. Yeah, one of the things which Srila Prabhupada kind of helped us and told many of the devotees in the American context was you whenever you get something, you at least sit, pray, and do the three Vishnus. You say Sri Vishnu, Sri Vishnu, Sri Vishnu 3 times. That's one of the ways, but of course it's not very purified method. Ideal is you can avoid any of the outside food. Get all the ingredients at home, cook it nicely, offer it to Krishna, and then kind of eat it. Then that will be a right set of non-sinful eating. Yeah. So again, eating outside may not be offerable to Krishna. You don't know what consciousness the food has been prepared. Yeah, you don't know how cleanly that food is prepared. There are so many considerations there. Yeah. So many aspects come in. So maybe eating food from outside is not a very great proposition from a Krishna conscious perspective. But of course, we need to be practical. It's not that it is like a thing. So maybe Nandakishore Prabhu, maybe you have a different perspective to this one.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mohanji. So like Mohanji was saying, there are different steps. We may not be at the highest step at the moment. I would give a very crude example, like a lover, 2 lovers meet. So first step, maybe the lover will take, a sandwich bought from a restaurant and give it to his lover. It's okay, but it's not the highest. There is more when the lover would actually go to the kitchen, cook it, and then give it. So these are steps. Certainly from the highest step, eating outside food is detrimental to our Krishna consciousness. But what if we are at a step lower? It's better to start somewhere. So like the question is asked, we eat outside food, how do we offer? So I would just think maybe there is, we should say what we should understand what is the meaning of offering. Offering doesn't mean only that now the end result is ready and how do we offer. It starts from the production of the end result, which means in our case food. So it starts right from sourcing the raw material, cooking it, and then offering. That's a complete offering. So if we can't do the complete process at the stage we are in now, like Mohanji was saying, Like there were many instances where it was said, okay, you say 3 times Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu. If you can't, sometimes if you can't, you take that thing which is cooked out and then you keep it in your home as offering, which is of course not again the highest platform. We don't recommend this, but it's better than not doing anything altogether.
Yeah.
And at the same time, we remain aware of the fact that we are not doing the highest thing. There's a difference in not doing the highest thing and feeling perfectly okay about it and not wanting to change, and there's a difference between not doing the highest thing, regretting it, and praying and making sincere efforts to come to the highest platform. So I think we must come in the second category if we are not doing the highest platform, and rest assured
Yeah.
Krishna would arrange a situation where we can come to the highest platform. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The example which Nandakishore Prabhu gave, I mean, I generally explain it from a mother feeding her child perspective. A mother, every day she can bring food from outside and give it to her child. But imagine the happiness she gets when she makes it herself with all the details and with taking care of what the child likes, and then cooks it and then offers it. There's a difference in the standard there. So that's the only understanding. Okay, so let's go to the next one. And I will ask Harinam Prabhu to take this one, which is, what is Sanatan Dharma actually? Even the impersonalist Mayavadis claim they follow Sanatan Dharma. Their method of praying is totally different, like merging with the super soul or meditating the formless God. How is it adhering to Sanatan Dharma? Kindly clarify.
Actually, Sanatan Dharma itself has various branches, and people have there were different philosophers who promoted that kind of philosophy. It's not that it is completely wrong. It is just that it is incomplete. That path of philosophy is incomplete. Their level of understanding is that highest goal of life is to merge into the effulgence of the Lord. But the nature of the soul is to serve. Jivera Sarup hoye Krishnera Nitya Das. So it is very a very uncomfortable situation for a purified soul to not serve, to not be engaged in any activity. So hence the ultimate purpose of life is to involve ourselves into devotional service, and this is beautifully explained in a book called Ishopanishad. So Ishopanishad clearly describes as to how the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a person, and how by rendering devotional service one can ultimately reach him in his eternal abode.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I think next one is quite an important question. Prabhuji, while chanting, the mind is distracted towards various things and it's difficult to focus on Krishna. So is that chanting not considered? And if you tell me how one can improve on it. Yeah. So I think this is the most common question which every ISKCON person or every person who is starting his sadhana, he has this particular question, that the mind is very difficult to control. Even Arjuna asked this question to Lord Krishna, saying that whatever method you've told me of dhyana yoga is very impractical. Yeah, I can't control the mind. Yeah, so I think the practical aspect or answer towards this, as explained by our acharyas, is that we have to plow on. Yeah, Krishna also says that you have to keep practicing. Yeah, he says abhyasena and he says vairagya. Vairagya and abhyas, detachment and practice. So we have to also keep practicing this japa. So in the beginning, we will be in a stage called Namabhat Stage. Namabhat Stage is what you have described, that I'm chanting, but my mind is somewhere else. Sorry, that wo kaam karna hai. Arey, ye picture mein wo kitna acha tha. So you're chanting, but your mind is somewhere else. Yeah. So, but then that itself is a purificatory stage. Just like you can't go to the 10th grade before passing the 9th grade, or you can't go to the 9th grade before passing the 8th grade, we also have to go through this particular process. And the earlier we realize that I'm doing Namaprad, that itself is a progression towards the next stage, which is called the Namabhat stage, where at least you are trying to get to the attention of the Lord. Yeah, where you are actually chanting and you're actually hearing what you are chanting. So one of the very practical things, in fact, Nandakishore Prabhu himself told me quite some time ago when we were in the beginning years, he would tell me that when you're doing your japa, if you have not heard the Hare Krishna mantra, then you should not go ahead. You should not push the beat ahead. Yeah. So your mantra 108, while you're doing 108, it might in the beginning stages take a very long time, because only if you have heard the mantra attentively, then you should push the beat ahead. Yeah. So when you start doing this in a much more practical, proper way, and then it becomes your practice, it becomes your habit, that unless I've heard the mantra, I will not push my bead ahead. Yeah. So then what happens in this particular stage, you start going to the next phase, which is the Namabhat stage. And after the Namabhat stage, you go to the stage called the Shuddhanam. Yeah. So to go to Shuddhanam, we have to go through these two stages. Yeah. So please plow on. Your mind is difficult to control, but you have to keep on practicing it. That's the only way, that is the only method by which you can come to the Namabhas and then to the Shuddhanam phase. Nandakishore Prabhu, anything you want to add on this?
Prabhu, I want to add, Prabhu, one thing. In one class, I've read something which has kind of made a very deep impact on me, and it somehow or other I think helped me chant slightly better. I'm not saying that I'm perfect, but I'm in the very, 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 very beginning stage of the journey. But I'd like to share, and that will completely is most important. It's up to us to decide in which category you want to belong. I have to chant. I must chant. I need to chant. I want to chant. I like to chant. I love to chant. This is entirely up to us. Choice is us. And I don't want to chant. That also is a choice. But we are not considering that. Considering that we have crossed that stage, and it's up to us to decide on in which stage we want to be. Ideally, all of us, we should come to a stage of I like to chant and I love to chant. But again, it's a decision is ours. Nobody is fixing. Nobody is pushing. It entirely depends upon us, because in most of our life also, many endeavors which we do, if you love, we do it. They say that, right? If you love your work, you no more work. Same thing. It's an us that we decide, and then mind will listen to us. But if you want a mind to listen to us without making that conscious decision, mind will never listen to us. So this is my humble request. Again, I'm sorry, I'm trying to do like a preaching, but when I'm speaking this, I'm speaking to myself, because I need to learn from this much more than all of you. But just since I heard somewhere, I wanted to share in a very humble and respectful mode. Hare Krishna.
Fantastic. That was really very good. Okay, so I think the next question is, in the Gita Mahatmyam, it is said that even if you utter a word or an akshara, it will liberate you, or it will lead you to Krishna's abode. How is this possible? Yeah, so maybe Harinam Anand Prabhu can take this.
Actually, not only in Gita Mahatmyan, but in many spiritual books, even Shimad Bhagavatam, even if you utter once any verse of the Lord, of the scriptures, it takes you back home, back to God. What it actually means is that it gives you the opportunity to associate with devotees more and more. So because you have taken that one step towards reading or understanding the verse of the Lord, or glorifying the words that were spoken by the Lord blesses you with the association of devotees, and eventually the association of devotees takes you back to Godhead. So that's what in general it means. So the path is becomes so simple that it is as good as the word took you back.
I think it's also the amount of faith which is invested in that chanting of that particular shloka. Yeah. So with what faith are you chanting that particular mantra, or that particular part of the mantra? Shlokardam shlokapadam, it says. Yeah, that particular aspect, that particular shloka is around this one. That even if you say a part of a shloka, it can liberate you. Yeah, but with what faith are you saying it, that with that particular shloka? That is the important part. Okay, so I think next question we'll give it to Nandakishore Prabhu, is if past karma is responsible for what one experiences in this birth, how is it ordained as to who will suffer or gain from whom? Example, if an honest person is dwindled in his hard-earned money by a builder, then does it mean that he would have had some bad karma in his previous birth, while the builder would have done good karmas, even if his action now is wrong? We see this happening so much in practical life and in all walks of life.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mohanji. So, like in the question, it was said, similarly, it's explained in many areas in scripture that nothing happens to us in this world by chance. Now we are in two categories, as we learned from the science of Bhagavad Gita, that if we don't serve Krishna, our actions have reactions, and we must go through them. In our past life, if we have acted in a particular way, or not only in the past life, in many past lives, many times it is seen that questions are asked, if this happened to me, did I do this in my past life? So scriptures tell us not necessarily only your past life. You may reap the results of your actions, which you may have done many past lives before also. It's not necessary, it's constrained only to your past life. So yes, if we are not in the science of Bhakti Yoga, we do suffer or enjoy the results of our actions. So like in your example, it said that if some builder has duped a honest individual, does it mean that, yeah, certainly, because everything doesn't happen here by chance. So it's not so many other individuals who got duped, it was one particular individual. So it means he rightfully deserves that reaction due to a past activity that he has performed. At the same time, one shouldn't stop there. Whatever the necessary actions are to counteract that, maybe you go and do a court case, maybe you do go and approach the police, or you do something. You have to take those steps also and see where it goes. So based on our actions, time would unfold what we are going to get, good or bad. But it's certainly dependent on our actions only if we suffer or enjoy anything in this material world, if we are not in the category of those who are in the science of this Bhakti Yoga. However, if we take up to this process of Bhakti Yoga, then our karma can get intervention by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna, and we might sometime gain something which we were not due for, just to increase our surrender to the Lord. And in some cases, we might even lose something which we were not karmically supposed to lose, even just again to deepen our surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And at the same time, Acharyas explained that this concept or theory of karma is very complex. It's not very simple to understand. But yes, in a samam bomam, we do suffer or enjoy our own past actions, and there is no wrong delivery in this. In supermarket, if we order, our order sometime goes to the wrong house, but there is no question of such wrong delivery happening in the law of karma, because it's a perfect system, but it's very intricate. But we just need to understand that we would suffer and enjoy our own action, and it's not a mistake that this has come upon us, be it good or bad. And at the same time, if we take up to the science of Bhakti Yoga, then it is not only by the law of karma our life is functioned, rather it is by the intervention of the Lord.
Nandakishore Prabhu, would you like to read the shloka for the benefit of the audience?
Yes.
I think
please.
while that one comes up, there is one very fantastic quote which is given by our acharyas, and it says, pay attention here, which says, "Do not blame the instrument of your karma." Yeah, that's what that particular quote goes. Do not blame the instrument of your karma. Why? Because whoever is giving you that karma or whatever is only an instrument based on your own past deeds coming back to you. It's not that the person is giving this. Yeah, so that's the understanding. Yes, Prabhu, go ahead.
Thank you, Mohanji. And what it sparked the thought on me, what you said now is that often, like Mohanji was saying, what we are not supposed to do, we end up doing. We end up blaming the person, and in that process, unfortunately, we create more counter karma for ourselves.
More karma.
Let's say I slapped somebody in my past life. It's a very crude example, and I got insulted or beaten by someone or something. Now, if I think, oh my God, this guy is the guy who's, of course, it doesn't mean we don't self-defend ourselves, but I'm just giving a crude example. often by blaming the person per se, looking at him as responsible for our suffering and pain, we end up creating more suffering. It's commonly seen, when someone gives someone a bad word, then he gives that person back 10 bad words. So, rather than getting out of that karma, we end up creating 10 times more the karma. Yeah. So this is, as Jaganji put here from Padma Puran, aprarabdha phalam papam kutam bijam phalonmukham kramenaiva praliyeta Vishnu bhakti ratatmanam. So the translation is as follows. There are different stages of dormant reactions to sinful activities to be observed in a sinful life. Sinful reactions may be just waiting to take effect, phalonmukha. Reactions may be still further dormant, kuta, or the reactions may be in a seed-like state, bija. In any case, all types of sinful reactions are vanquished one after another if a person engages in the devotional service of Lord Vishnu. Thank you very much, Jaganji.
Okay, so next question, quite practical, from Adam. Prabhuji is asking, in Bhagavad-Gita 12 chapter 8 shloka to 12 shloka explains the different possibilities. If you can't do it, do this. If you can't do this, do this. Yeah, so the different stages. How to know where is the limit of our abilities for the level? How do you know when someone should descend or go up? Yes, Jagan Prabhu, you'd want to take this one, please?
I think I will pass this question to the teachers. Mohan Prabhu or Harinam Prabhu, if you can take it, I think it'll be good.
Okay, so I think maybe I will attempt, and maybe Harinam Prabhu can add on to my understanding also. So I think when Lord Krishna explains that if you can't do this, do this, he's actually explaining the limit, because he understands that the three modes are acting on us, and based on the three modes, there is some capability that in us. So I think if you want to practically, what I would do is I would start at the highest stage and see if I can do the highest stage as much as possible, what Krishna is saying. What is the highest stage? Krishna says, surrender everything unto Krishna. And if he says, if you cannot surrender unto me, then at least you do the lower part. So if what I would do probably is, I know I might not be able to surrender everything to Krishna at all the point of time. So maybe whatever I can, I will start with that. Whatever I can't, I will do it on a lower level. Whatever I really can't even do at that level, I will take it to a much further lower level. Yeah. And finally, the Lord says, if nothing else, at least do some activity for the Lord. Yeah. And that is what is the lowest of the lowest that he says that we should do. So I think where our practical limit is only we have to find out through our own experimentation. Yeah. So that is what I would kind of think is probably the answer to this one. And whether to descend or to go up, I think it again depends on the individual person. Yeah. Of course, recommendation is to go up always. Yeah, because we would want to 24 hours dedicate our thought, action, and words towards the pleasure of the Lord. Yeah. So that would be really the ultimate. But maybe it's not practical every time. Okay, let's do it 20% of the time. Remaining 80% of the time, we'll do the other thing. And that's how we can kind of keep up improving our surrender to the Lord. And the practical example of this one is while you are doing japa. So just when you're doing japa, you can check yourself that of the 108 beads that I'm doing, how many beads did I really think of Krishna at that point of time? And that gives you an indication of your litmus test of your entire life's activities. Yeah. Yes, Harinam Prabhu, maybe you could want to add something.
Yeah, Mohan Prabhu, Mohan, I just kept the thing we just kept the highest to lowest, just for the sake of audience. Yeah, Harinam Prabhu, you can continue.
Yeah, just to add on to that, especially personally in my case, I always take shelter, or I always take help from my seniors. So it is a good idea to join a Bhakti Vriksha group. We have a beautiful system in our in Dubai or wherever you are situated, where people who are interested to progress in their spiritual journeys can join such small, amazing groups where the group leader or Bhakti Vriksha leader, he guides the person into their spiritual life. So you will get a proper personalized guidance also, and inspiration also in to get the answer for this question.
Yeah, that's also definitely the practical aspect. Okay, I think thanks for that. I think there is a couple of more questions, which is exactly related to what Harinam Prabhu suggested. Is there ISKCON temple in UAE where Kirtan and Jap is being done? Yeah. So yes, there are. In fact, there is not directly an ISKCON temple, but there are a lot of, like Prabhu says, congregational activities, congregational events which happen where you can join in, and we will send you details of that in our website around where you can join. We have programs on Fridays. Yeah, of course. Now with COVID, we are in quite a restricted mode, and where we do all the programs on Zoom. We also have a daily morning Bhagavatam class. Yeah, where in early morning from 4:30 we start doing japa. From 4:30 we start, we do till 5 o'clock. Then from 5 to 5:30 we do Mangalarti, and then from 5:30 to 7 we again do japa, and then we do a Bhagavatam class. Yeah. So there are events that are happening, and if you can connect to us subsequently, either on the website where we can give you further details. Okay, and maybe now the next question. There was no mention of another reincarnation of Lord Krishna in the form of Kalki. Is it true? So I am not aware. Maybe Nandakishore Prabhu or Jagan Prabhu can help us here.
Yeah, Nandakishore Prabhu, you want to take it? Gita Govindam.
Hare Krishna. So there is a mention of the incarnation of Kalki in the Srimad Bhagavatam. It is not that it is not mentioned. In fact, it is mentioned. In fact, the place where he will appear, who will be his mother, father, everything is explained in detail in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So I request you to kindly please go through it. So Kalki is an authentic incarnation, but it's only that there are some people who have made him come before his actual time. So yes, the incarnation has been mentioned in every incarnation actually should be verified against scripture. That's the message our founder Acharya would give. And when he will come, where he will come, in which home he will come, everything is mentioned in the scripture. So Kalki is an authentic information, but however, many people use this information and try to mislead due to some personal agenda. So they may say that Kalki is already there now, or things like that. But this we need to verify with scripture. But Kalki, otherwise, yes, is a bona fide incarnation who is yet to come.
Okay. I think the next question is, Prabhuji, how did Maharshi Vedavyas come to know about this knowledge of BG? How did we establish this is version of BG? Okay. So Jagan Prabhu, you want to take that one?
Sorry, Prabhu.
So basically the establishment. How do we know that the Bhagavad Gita which is there now is the authentic one? This Bhagavad Gita as the Sanskrit which is there. And how did Vedavyas come to know about this?
I think in one of the classes, if I'm right, there are different ways of acquiring knowledge has been told. One is acquiring knowledge is from the bottom up, and one is a knowledge which is coming from top. One is a knowledge where it's Anumana Praman, hypothetical knowledge, experimental knowledge, and perceiving knowledge, and the knowledge that comes from top. So we humbly believe, strongly believe in a thing called disciplic succession. That means a guru knows from his teacher, and a teacher knows from his guru, and a guru knows from his teacher. And this disciplic succession is directly coming from Krishna to the Lord, to Brahma, to different acharyas down the line. So since it comes under this parampara system, and Vedavyas is also a very much strong part of this whole parampara system, we believe that it is authentic, because we strongly believe in that concept of passing the knowledge through generations, through the lineage of acharyas. That's all I can say. And also the authenticity is also measured and qualified by three-legged principle: Guru, Shastra, and Sadhu. whatever my guru is, if my guru says it is Veda Vyas, I don't have to blindly believe. I'll go to other saints or other monks who are saying, are they also saying the same? And even then, if I'm not satisfied, I'll directly go into the available texts and other material to revalidate and re-understand whether my understanding is right. So when all these three parameters match, the qualification and the quality of my genuinity, my understanding of my genuinity increases. That's all I can say.
Okay, I think so. There are some WhatsApp questions which have been posted now, which is put in the WhatsApp forum. We're going to take some of those. In fact, we don't have much time, but we will try to answer as quickly as possible. The secrets of Gita were revealed by Lord Krishna to Arjuna before the start of the battle. How would the enormous knowledge be conveyed to Arjuna? Was it conveyed verbally or by any other means? So I think Harinam Govind Prabhu, you want to answer that? I think you probably answered that earlier also.
Yeah, I think we answered that question, that it was conveyed in a normal Vedic Bhasha, and it's not that it is enormous knowledge. It is a conversation which happened, and in it is in fact a very short conversation.
Yeah. Okay, so I think please explain difference between soul and super soul. So this is entire the 4th chapter topic, where clearly the discussion differentiation is given between who the soul is and who the super soul is, and what are the qualities. Like for example, there's one example given here, given in the 4th chapter, is the soul, Lord Krishna, super soul. He remembers everything from his past activities, whereas the soul doesn't even remember what he did yesterday. Yeah, so remembrance is one differentiation. Like that, there are many differences. Please go through the 4th chapter, or maybe just rewind on the 4th chapter YouTube video, and we have shown the differences between soul and super soul there. Okay, I think next question from Nalin is, I'm a little confused. I'm hearing that any action attributed to in Krishna consciousness is free from sinful reaction. So a poor needy person stealing to feed his family and attributing it to Krishna would be free from sinful reaction. Similarly, a soldier killing his neighbor or any other evil action for that matter, and like he's not completed the question, but his question is any action, any evil action be attributed to Krishna, and then that will become sinless? Yes, Nandakishore Prabhu, what's your view?
Hare Krishna, thank you, Mohanji. So, action which is done in pure Krishna consciousness is only free from sinful reaction. It's not we can cook up the action in our mind and then say, I'm doing this for Krishna. Therefore, we need a spiritual master and other devotees along with whom we practice, who can therefore tell us what is the right activity in Krishna consciousness. We cannot do this activity whimsically. Like in your question, you are saying a poor man stealing for maintaining his family and attributing to Krishna. If a poor man is stealing and maintaining his family, there is nothing Krishna conscious about that activity. Hence, it won't be free from sinful reaction. Neither can someone steal and say, okay, I'm maintaining my family for Krishna. So there are some things which are black and white straight off rejected, and therefore we need a spiritual master, we need devotees, and we need scripture. When the action is sanctioned by the spiritual master, sanctioned by the scriptures, and sanctioned by the devotees with whom we practice this process, and it is done for the pleasure of Krishna, then that action will be free from any reaction. We cannot simply do an activity and then say I'm attributing to Krishna. Such kind of activity is not going to be free of.
Yeah.
Rather, it is a greater sin, because you are doing sin in the name of Krishna. Yeah. Thank you.
Correct. Sorry, 17th chapter, Arjuna asks exactly this question. He says there are many people who do a lot of things with faith. What happens to them? Yeah. So I think it's a similar question, and that the 17th chapter, if you probably have a look at, do meditate on the 17th chapter, you'll get an answer to this particular question. I think there's one comment from Adam to everyone. I think Prabhuji is saying you can offer food in your mind. A 5-minute break is not that much. The point is also whether one is eating to keep the body in order to serve Krishna or eating to satisfy the senses. Even prasadam can be eaten not as a servant but as a sense gratification. Yeah, that's right. I think thanks for that comment. You rightly understood the concept. Then course is 700 shlokas. What shlokas for beginners and thereafter step-by-step progress? Very difficult to start all 700 shlokas and unable to put it in practice. LKG to PG level course on BG is required. Yes, Jai Govind Prabhu, you need a new course design from for making Bhagavad Gita much more easier probably. So yes, Somatla Prabhu, thank you. We'll take your feedback here, and we will definitely try to see if we can make it much more easier and simpler for everybody to follow.
Yeah, Mohan, there is one course that is one of the devotees from ISKCON Chennai are launching after a very successful Essence of Bhagavad Gita Made Easy course. Now they are launching a course called Mastery on Bhagavad Gita. I think Sham has got the details. We will put those details probably on the day when we do the summary of Bhagavad Gita session. I think Sham Prabhu can speak few words about that course. I think we are running out of time, so I request Jai Govind Prabhu or Sham Prabhu to come on board and tell the concluding words and the important messages also. Thanks a lot, and thanks a lot for giving us this opportunity. We tried our best with our limited knowledge to serve you and to answer you. If there are any mistakes, we we apologize for that, and we please forgive us. We are all beginners. We are all of us are in the same boat. We just had this opportunity to serve you, and we think that's a very, very good opportunity. Hare Krishna.
Thank you all. And as usual, our promise is whatever questions is not answered, we will definitely try to answer them in print and put it on the website. So please keep a lookout on the website even after this course is over. Jai Govind Prabhu, over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Harinam Anand, Mohan, Jaganji, and Nankishore Prabhu. Wonderful session, and big thanks to all the participants. The questions were flooding like anything. Thank you very much. And as Mohanji just mentioned, the questions which are not answered, we will compile the question and we will put it on our website. Please do visit our website, bit.do/essence of Gita. And tomorrow again we have a very interesting session which is called as Overview of Shimad Bhagavatam. As you know, Shimad Bhagavatam is Nigama Kalpataror Galitam Phalam, meaning this is the mature fruit of the desire of Vedic literature. You know, such a wonderful literature. So we will discuss about that, because you know Shrimad Bhagavad Gita concluded with the verse Sarva Dharman Parityajya. Okay, so abandon all your religion and surrender unto me. So next question comes, what to do next? So the Shrimad Bhagavatam will take from there on. So we will listen from the tomorrow speaker. And again, on day after tomorrow, we are having the full summary of Bhagavad Gita, all 18 chapters, followed by the quiz. Then on Friday, which is Gita Jayanti day, we will recite all 700 verses along with the Havan. Please join us. And also with regard to Sambatiya questions, just wait for an exciting announcement on the last day. We are coming up with something. We will keep it at this juncture as a secret. We will announce that on Friday. Sham, do you have to say something? Okay. So if nothing is there, okay. So we all meet again tomorrow at 7:30, same time. Thank you joining for us, and please inform your friends, relatives, and at least another 3 days, you know, you bring all your people and get the benefit. Thank you very much. Once again, thank you all, especially thank for the our wonderful panelists. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.